Welcome back to Two Sides, Same Couch. We are a podcast where two best friends dig into conversations most people avoid, from identity to intimacy, insecurities to growth. We sit on opposite sides and show up at the same intention: honesty, curiosity, and connection. This is a space for people in the thick of figuring life out. Through raw stories and real talk, we explore the messy middle and make room for growth, healing, and perspective. I'm Myron.
And I'm Maggie.
And this is our first time having a guest on the couch, and I'll let Maggie do introductions.
Yes, I'm so excited about this guest, our first guest. And this person is, I'm glad that I get to introduce this person, even though she is your sister. But I really want to introduce you because, like I was just telling you earlier, I don't remember meeting you, but I do remember a while ago, Myron suggested to me to reach out to you. I was going through some things. I was going through some stuff in my marriage, and he was like, you should talk to Marcy. And so I remember we went out together. We went out and we just started talking. And I quickly learned after that moment that you were a person that I needed to listen very carefully to whenever you spoke, because you're so full of wisdom. Seriously, I feel like every time you're speaking, I literally am like, what's Marcy saying? Like, I want to hear it. Because you're really so full of wisdom. I feel like it pours out of you. And I truly feel like you're one of my role models. So I'm so glad and happy that you're here. And besides all of that, Marcella is a behavioral financial advisor. And she owns a company with their other brother, Mark, called Legacy Builder Group, which is a holistic coaching and investment firm. They also have a program that I was able to, have the privilege to be able to do called Family Legacy Experience, which was truly amazing. I feel like I can't go into all the details about that, but it really just changed my life in so many ways, my financial life, but also like all of my life, all the areas of my life. So this is Marcella Mollon Williams. And the reason also why we brought you here today as well, because one of our really good friends, Candace, suggested a topic to us. So shout out to Candace.
Shout out,
and that is financial compatibility. And so when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, Marcy has to come talk about this. Definitely. You are the perfect person. Besides all the other things I listed that you do, you also do financial premarital counseling as well. So I knew this would be your bread and butter. And I feel personally very invested in this topic as well, because a lot of reasons. I feel like this was an area I think that was challenging for me when I was married. And I truly feel like God has given me a second chance at love and marriage. So I would love to learn all the things beforehand so that, this part of my life can be healthier. So that's the whole backstory. Before we jump in, did you want to say anything at all, or?
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on the couch.
Yes.
With my brother and my sister from another mister. So I'm grateful to be here, and I'm happy you thought of me for this conversation.
Yes.
I've been wanting to get on the couch anyway.
Yes.
So, and I'm just proud of you guys for just having this podcast and really just allowing these conversations to happen, because it's needed. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So our first question for you is, what does financial compatibility actually mean?
Yes. So thank you, Candace.
Yes.
Conversation. For me, I'm sure if you ask different people, you'll get different definitions. But to simply put it, financial compatibility is a combination of being in alignment. So that's the key word there, alignment. So being in alignment when it comes to financial habits, financial attitude. So your attitude around money, like I said, your habits around spending and saving, so overall behavior, and then being in alignment with the long-term goals. So if I really just think of it, compatibility is about alignment and, again, attitude, habits, and goals. That's how I look at it.
I love that. That simplifies it a lot.
Yeah.
Something that seems like big and complex.
Yes.
I've never thought about
And we can go into, the nuances, but I just like to keep things as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So being in alignment with habits, attitude, and goals. And alignment doesn't mean the same. Doesn't always mean the same, right? What does alignment mean?
That's a good question because you hear this word alignment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a buzzword.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I always use the analogy. I don't know if you use this, Maya. I feel like you have recently with the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
So I actually go through that with just about every client I meet with. I talk about being in alignment. It's like when your tires are not in alignment, you feel that pull.
Yeah.
And you have to fight against it. Whereas when your vehicles are in alignment, it's an ease and a flow. So you'll always know you're out of alignment when you feel extra pressure, unnecessary pressure and discomfort, as opposed to when you're in alignment. And there's always something to be in alignment with. So when I say that, like when you're talking about a vehicle, there are lines, you got your guardrails, you have all these things that you know to stay centered with. For me, that's values, your core values, your purpose. Those are the things to be in alignment with. So you will know whether you know your values or your goals or not.
By how you feel.
By how you feel, because these things aren't innate. That's just alignment, period.
Yeah.
So now you add that to the financial conversation. And again, you feel that tug and that pull when you're not in alignment.
I love that. That's so good.
I know you say you're keeping it simple. That's pretty deep.
And honestly, the core values, and I was going to say this earlier, but since you brought it up, I feel like core values, determining my core values through your program gave me so much clarity in life. Like, I know that is the basis of how you teach people to make financial decisions, but really you can use all of those to make like any decision. So that was like insane for me. And just even getting to know myself, period, was just determining those.
You're right, Maggie, because, the thing I always say is how you do one thing.
Yes.
Everything. So it's challenging for me to just talk about finances as its own little silo. Like it doesn't work that way in my head.
Yeah.
It is the same way for everything. So core values are core values, and they work with relationships, finances, your spiritual life, everything. It has to all work together.
Oh, that's why I love your guys' program so much too, because I've never been someone who's been super into finances. Like, it's not an interest of mine. Like, I work on them because that's what you have to do as a responsible adult, and like steward my finances, but I love the way that you guys do things because you really do intertwine like all areas of life into finances. So I love it.
All right, well, let's dive a little further into this. Can you tell us how financial compatibility shows up or may show up in friendships and romantic relationships? So
if we go back to that alignment situation of not feeling in alignment or feeling in alignment, again, that ease and flow, I think it shows up in ways of just daily activities. I mean, when we think of money, right? Financial, so we're talking about financial compatibility. So we're talking about money here, right? And we're talking about individual relationships with money. And now that individual is dealing with someone else who has an individual relationship with money. It's going to just simply manifest in multiple ways. So, I mean, we can give out, and I'd rather say, what's the example where you've seen it? Because it's so much easier. Like, we can really just point out the conflicts that may come together. But the biggest issue that I notice is, and you may not even be asking about issues, but
if you got examples, we'll take
it. But for me, everything is about communication. Like, I will probably continue to say that. I'm just warning you right now. I'm going to say that a few times, no matter what you ask. But it's always going to land with communication, and we can unpack that. But how people are able to communicate their relationship with money will be an indicator of how compatibility shows up within relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships.
That takes a lot of work, though. To be able to communicate your relationship with money, you'd have to know what your relationship with money is, and that can be a whole process in of itself.
And as you know, going through the program, digging back into what we look at is finding your earliest money memory. What was your first experience with money? Which often most of us, it's childhood. What do we see growing up? Did you see your parents fight about money? Did you see them every time the word money came up, or mommy, can I buy something? You think money grows on trees? Whatever you got. that was planted. That was a seed planted in you.
Mm-hmm.
And it continues to either be nurtured, in various ways. And it shows up as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing we have to actually go back and unpack our money memories and our money demons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How common is, and this is not on the topic,
Do it.
how common is like what you guys are doing in the industry? Just because I've like literally never heard this before. I'm curious. I just wonder how many people are doing these type of things where they're really figuring out where they are at financially, their relationship with money, so that they can healthily, walk through that with somebody else. But like, is that happening in other places or spaces? Is this common?
In my world, well, I'll put it this way. I'm grateful that it is becoming more common.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's been enough studies, enough research for the financial and an investment industry to realize, oh, wait a minute. It's not the markets. It's not the economy that's really impacting people's finances. Mm-hmm. It's their behavior. It's right here in their mindset. Mm-hmm. So, although I would say that when I first became a licensed behavioral financial advisor, people were like, my colleagues were like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know. But now there's financial therapists, and there are all these versions of behavior and finance because it's more common known knowledge that, we need help as humans. So we need to really unpack this.
I feel like the industry was kind of like art, or like the capitalism was already more aware of it. And, that's where algorithms are designed to study people's spending habits and stuff so they can increase sales. But like, now it's like, okay, we're woken up to it a little bit, and now we're actually able to get help from it.
It is kind of funny. Yeah, they started I won't say they started the problem, but the industries, you have all these corporations that are spending millions and millions hiring neuroscientists to teach them how the mind works and how do we make people buy more, and invest a certain way. And so I think at some point, there was not enough research done. There wasn't enough studies as far as on this end, as far as, investor behavior and connecting the dots in a way that would help them. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what you're saying more, as Myron said. Yeah.
Okay, so back on track, but it's all the same, but still. So what can people look for in potential partnerships to ensure someone is financially compatibility for them?
Great question. We're going to start with communication and work our way there. If you're looking, so let's say you're meeting someone or you're early in a relationship with someone, it is very important to be able to know that you can have a conversation about anything. Now, I know that people don't like to have, the hard conversations too early in the courtship phase. But it's important. Like, for instance, one of the things I do in my premarital financial counseling course, actually the first thing that I do before they even have their first session is pull out their credit reports and review it with each other before they meet with me.
Before. They're not doing that in front of you. They're doing it.
Correct.
Okay, good.
And then when our first session, we review it. We're like, okay, what did you see? Was there anything that you didn't realize was there? And that way, if there is an issue, I can just confront it right there. We could start off the bat. So I call this ripping the Band-Aid off.
Is that you throwing couples into the deep end of having these conversations? Is that why you're doing that? You're picking something and you're like, okay, you guys do this together. Are you assessing for the communication piece?
Well,
or the financial?
Okay. Yeah, complete.
Is this a test for finances or communication?
Yeah, at this point, they've hired me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's already an issue.
Yeah.
They realize, we're struggling to communicate about this. There's one couple that's the spender.
Yeah.
And there's the other one that's the saver. And usually it's a saver that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like I said, we could look at that all by itself. And then they're like, okay, before we get married, we need to deal with this.
Yeah.
So that's why I know, okay, if we're going to deal with this, let's deal with it right up front. Put the Band-Aid off and let's look and see what you have. And I really haven't had an issue where it was like, oh my gosh. Because again, they wouldn't come to me if there was going to be an issue like that. Those people who really cannot deal with that won't hire me. So that's one of those things. And I look at it as premarital counseling, period. Again, how you do one thing is how you do anything.
Yes.
If you're talking to someone that says, I don't want to do premarital counseling, that's a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're saying, I don't want to do premarital financial counseling, that's a red flag
Mm-hmm.
automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I do what I do, is to be available for people who are really interested in diving deep, because what I'm trying to do is eliminate divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And since money and sex, although the stats say now kind of infidelity, but I look at it as it's still sex. So money and sex as the leading cause of divorce. And I say it's communication around money and sex. That's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to deal with those two things. And the earlier you can have conversations about them, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that financial compatibility, the number one thing is looking for communication.
Yes.
If you can communicate
If you can communicate.
about all topics.
About, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And about money. You know, you set out for a date. Can you spend? Are you a saver? What are your financial goals?
Mm-hmm.
And just see how, you know, they feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
Just see what their habits are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can just observe certain things. You don't have to say a word. Yet, if you're not really comfortable with having a communication, just pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to how they spend, how much they like to shop, you know, all those things.
Can spenders work with savers? Can those two be together and be married happily?
They can. We do have couples that it can be challenging.
Yeah.
But they, you know, I've had couples, whether they've been through our counseling or not, or they're working with us just on a financial planning side, they've been married for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they're coming to us because, you know, I hear it's like, yeah, we got to get this together.
Mhm.
I'm uncomfortable. Again, typically, it's not even about money.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to the core values. For someone who values safety and security, to be with someone else whose values may be, you know, freedom or something that speaks to
Experiences.
their experiences.
Adventure.
Yes.
Like that person in security and safety,
Exactly.
they may butt heads.
And there's nothing wrong with any of these core
No.
values. It's just how they work together. So a safety person is watching their spouse come home with this new item, and they're automatically shaken, not because they don't want them to have that item. It's because, how much does that cost? What's that going to take away from our savings, our long-term goals?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the economy's collapsing. We're going to be in a poorhouse. Like the spiral happens, right?
Mm-hmm. So we talked about the adventurous, maybe someone who has a core value of adventure, right? And someone who has core value of security and safety. Nothing is wrong. Those are just the values. I guess I'm still caught up on this alignment thing. Like, does it have to be the same? So if you think of like compatibility, especially with finances, or this is everything too, I guess, if you're thinking about a partner, do you have to have the same values in order to like have a better alignment when it comes to finances? Or can you have different values?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And absolutely you have different values as long as those values meet somewhere. So when I take my couples through this process, they come up with their 5 core values. And then together we create their 5 family values.
Mm-hmm.
Pop quiz. What's your 5 core values?
I always have to use my hands. Family, faith, fitness, growth, and freedom.
I'm not okay. One non-F.
Yeah, I know. One non-F. I'll find an F for that one.
All right.
So I go. Yeah. So
they find their family.
Yes.
Do you see normally like the family values are typically core values of the two individuals?
Yes.
They make their way to family value. Okay.
Yes. So it could be a combination of both of their values, or it could just be words that meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And they find unity
Between the two.
Between the two.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because sometimes freedom does mean security.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can work together. That's why these are just words. What matters is the meaning behind the words to them, not the textbook definition, but what do these mean?
Yeah.
These words actually mean for
The
them.
intention of it.
Exactly. So we have to go deeper below the surfaces. And so having that family core value acts as a mission, almost like the core values of the company, right? And I help people to try to understand that, and hopefully this will answer your question, to run the home like a business.
Yeah.
So I go through an exercise with them where I set up where they're the CEO, they're co-CEOs, right? And as CEOs jointly, sometimes you're the visionary, the other one may be a realist, right? But they works together. And then determining, well, who's the CFO and who's the COO, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer. Because a lot of times, again, the opposites do attract.
Yeah.
So, but it works together if you're able to really understand your roles and see and really emphasize and support each other's strengths within that. So if having the dreamer is great. The dreamer is going to say, okay, let's expand and let's try this. They may be the entrepreneurial one that will try some things, while your spouse may be like, oh, I don't want too much risk. And so that individual keeps them a bit more grounded, from floating into the atmosphere. But it works as long as one is not trying to weigh down the other. It's just simply understanding your roles, understanding how you can work together within your value system, and then driving forward together.
One of our questions was, how can you minimize conflict during these type of conversations? And my brain went to is it always kind of, if you're experiencing conflict, let's say you're talking about money things within your relationship, is it bringing yourself back to the family values that you both agreed on, or trying to, whatever the conflict may be, I don't know, aligning yourself? I'm sure you can answer this better than where my brain went, but I feel like conflict and family values, there's got to be a connection.
Yeah. So you're asking about how the conflict, right?
Yes.
How to resolve. It does go back to that.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges is, again, there's two individuals.
Yeah.
Right? They're separate. And one of my goals is to make sure, especially when they're coming to me at this point, they're like, okay, we tried talking about this. There is conflict. Often on our coaching sessions, there's tears.
Yeah.
So it's a very emotional thing. We have to understand why we feel the way we do about money. Not even from the money memory, from an identity perspective. Because we have to keep in mind that we tie our identity to things that have to do with money, meaning how much income we make, our careers, all of these things that we tie our identity to. So all these are going on as an individual. And now you're coming together as a couple. One of my goals right in the beginning, and why I do the core values right in the beginning, is because I want them to make sure that they see themselves and then that they see each other as individuals and understand that, okay, this is how you're thinking. There's so many things that come up in these conversations that the spouse or the significant other is just like they can't really wrap their mind around, because I have to remind them, you're thinking money, but you should be thinking value.
Right.
Like what's valuable to one person or what one person finds value in, you may not, but it doesn't mean
one man's trash, another man's treasure.
Exactly. Yeah. So I try to encourage them to see things in terms of value and not just money. And when you can start getting clarity around, this is valuable to you. Like, why is it important that we have quality dining room furniture? I remember one conversation as opposed to the other. I was like,
that's so real though. It's like somebody who just wants to get that from Walmart. Somebody else might want to get it from somewhere. I don't know.
Exactly.
Pottery Barn.
Yeah. Exactly. It's so many things that from your upbringing that you find value in that the other person may not understand. And you're going to have conflict if you can't understand that.
Yeah.
So it's really about getting to know each other, the why behind why things are important to you. Again, it can stem, most of the time, it comes from your upbringing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, this is a topic I feel I've been very excited about for personal reasons. And I think one thing for me, so like in my past relationship, I really lacked my own, well, first of all, knowing myself, period, not just financial. Knowing myself, like I didn't know anything about values. Like I just didn't know that about who I was, right? And then also I think I lacked a lot of like financial skills. So I think through that whole process, I just kind of gave up a lot of my agency my agency when it came to finances, especially in the relationship. So I defaulted a lot to my ex. Like he just kind of made a lot of the decisions, right? And so now, fast forward, I think that's an area that I've like really been pouring into, and other people, yourself included, have been pouring into this area. So I feel like I've built up a lot in terms of getting to know myself and all of that and healing and whatever. And then also like really building up my financial skills and just figuring out how things work for me and my system. And like you said, like a company, you have to figure out like how you want to run your company, your finances. So yes, exactly. So I feel like I've done so much of that work. Of course, it's never perfect, but I feel like I've grown so much, right? And I have like different goals and they're based off my values and like all those different things, right? But there's like a fear now because I'm like, how do you mesh that with someone else? Like, because if you think about my experience, I had the two extremes kind of, right? I had an extreme where I kind of just was like, okay, I defaulted to somebody else. But now I'm in an extreme where it's just me. So I'm making all the decisions, right? So it kind of leads me to this question, which is how do you recommend couples set shared goals while also leaving space for individual priorities?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll start with just getting clear on what you want
Mm-hmm.
in a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, like you said, you were one way with your last partner.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're on your own, getting it together,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking to be in another relationship
Yes.
and have a partner. So like a company, you need a partner. It's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about marriage and, you know, the concept and idea of a relationship. It's about a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
That's always, for me, that's always how we should be entering a relationship. So if it's a partnership, then going back to the roles I talked about, and again, we don't have to use those labels. I use it to simplify things.
Yeah.
But, well, what am I looking for as far as being in alignment? Especially if you are in a place where you're really getting clear on who you are, your strengths and your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't really want to look at our weaknesses, but it's so important to do that. That way you can identify, oh, does this partner have that strength
Yeah.
that could support my weakness?
Mm-hmm.
And not saying you're going to, you know, like you said before in your previous relationship, oh, that's my weakness. I don't want to deal with it. You can just deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about, it's a support. It's a balance system.
Yeah.
I'm not weak in this and I don't want to deal with it. I'm not hiding, but my intention is, we work well together and we could support each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the intention needs to start with, okay, I want a partnership.
Yeah. What
is that going to look like for me? But being careful not to put some really harsh parameters around that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's probably a whole episode by itself, guys. But especially when it comes financially, when you start having those conversations early, you're going to be able to pick up on some of the strengths and weaknesses, and you're going to have real conversations around that. And I think that's something that you can tangibly look for that will help with that process. I don't know if that's...
Yeah. So it's like knowing what type of partner knowing yourself, what your strengths and weaknesses are. I don't think I've thought about too much about like my strengths potentially in finance. Like, but I know there are strengths there, but really figuring that out, like strengths, weaknesses, and then what would be a good match for me to kind of balance, like you said, and not in a way that you just give up agency, but in a way that this person is stronger, I'm stronger here, and we can learn from each other and everything can be like flowing and the company can be running efficiently.
Yes. And so just to give you an example, because even though I'm in finance, I don't like dealing with like real estate. That's something I know I don't like to deal with. But Ron does.
Yeah.
You know, so he handles that. That's my husband, yeah. So he handles that. And then he can let me know what we're doing, what's going on with what. I have my hands in enough other things.
Yes.
So that's, especially all day I'm dealing with numbers. So I don't necessarily want to deal with that personally. But that's just where my weakness is, because I don't necessarily have maybe the patience to deal with some of the things I have to do with real estate, where he does. But if you're in a relationship, let's say both of you don't know anything about the stock market or investing, well, then that's an opportunity for you to learn together and then find out, oh, wait a minute, I like this versus,
strong with it,
okay, this is okay for me. You can handle this now. And then we can have huddles, weekly, monthly, and come together and see where things are and what's some of the next moves we can have together.
Oh, I love it. And I'm already seeing like how you do one thing, how you do everything. Like this is not just financial. Like if you think about your home, where is one person stronger? Where is one person weaker? Where is there more a bigger preference. Everyone talks a lot about different roles and gender roles and all those different things, but like, to me, it's really learning your partner and being like, oh, I'm stronger here, or I'm weak, and just having it flow that way.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah. And people feel better.
Exactly.
Happier.
Yes. Money doesn't have to be scary.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Here's a practical question. Should couples combine finances, keep them the same, or some kind of hybrid?
So that really depends. And I
knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, it does.
I was like, she's not going to answer it. Or how does it depend?
Yeah.
Again, if you have an individual, let's say, that's dealing with spending issues, and they're going to need some time to deal with that, then it may not be best to start joint.
Yeah.
It may need to be separate until you have maybe a hybrid. And then if you feel that at some point you can do a joint and that's it, then great. I kind of take my couples through that option as well. I'm a hybrid person. My relationship, we're hybrid. So it really depends on the individuals. Some just need that sense of freedom, that individuality, but they want that part where they're, okay, we're doing this together. So a lot of times hybrid is obviously I'm biased because that's what I do, but I've heard, and I've dealt with couples who are like, oh, no, we joint. And that can be needed, again, maybe for safety. Make sure someone may have some, dealing with trust issues.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, okay, I need to make sure you don't have some money on the side. So I think that's really important. Yeah.
I mean, that kind of reminds me, going back to the last question, is like making space for individual priorities versus shared goals, right? So the hybrid model could kind of hit on that. But I just have so many questions because it's like, I know what you're going to say. It's just going to be communication. But it's like, how do you even start that conversation? How do you even start diving into the details of figuring that out? Like what hybrid looks like. Are we getting, for our individual priorities, are we getting the same amount? Like, are we, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's so many details to figure out.
That's why you get yourself a financial advisor.
Yes. Yes.
Look, again, this is my job, but I do what I do, not because it's a job. I do what I do because it is a mission.
Yeah.
We DIY these things that we really should not be.
Yeah.
Like I said.
We as in society?
We as a society.
Okay. Yeah.
So there are so many, and it depends on communities and culture, but it's so dangerous to simply think I could just do it. Think about the fact that, are you even being taught about finance and money in school?
No.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And so this is what I keep coming across. Oh, I wish I knew about you 10 years ago before I lost all this or did all this.
Yeah.
And of course, it's never too late, but I keep coming across the conversations of after the fact. And that's the biggest issue. So even you're saying because you're wired to just think, okay, we've got to figure this out.
Yeah.
That's what we're wired to think.
Yeah.
We have to figure this out. And that's why this country as a whole is in so much financial trouble. Because we're trying to figure it out on our own. This is like you trying to do your own surgery.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And I always show the parallel between finance and fitness, health and wealth. There's a parallel in the discipline that is needed in both. And if you notice, especially in America, there's a struggle with both, with health, because we try to DIY. We listen to just anyone on social media about money. We listen to anyone on social media about health.
Yeah.
Instead of going, getting the blood work, getting the labs done, and figure out, what do you need? Coming to me, I tell them it's like your blood and your urine. We need all of that.
Yeah.
That's us.
Family history, all that.
All of that. But we don't look at it that way. And then we're like, I don't understand why. And that's understandably so because of the programming that we're getting.
Yeah. Because a lot of conversation with money is like, oh, well, I did this with, a shoestring and a rock and I built my fortune so anyone can do it. It's like, that's not how it works. Like there's a lot of parameters into how they managed to get, a lot of it's timing, a lot of it's, just how it fell together.
Yeah. It's broken. And then we're also like asking the neighbor and asking our cousin, and we're getting all this advice. And again, I'm just going to continue to show the parallel between how we do it with our health and how we do it with our wealth. We're asking, what vitamins? Look, I would give this example. I went over someone's house once, a friend of ours' house, and he was showing his supplements and everything. He's a runner. He's a real fitness guy, right? So we're on our house, and he's showing his supplements. And I was like, what made you decide to take these? He was like, well, someone told me about it and I had to start taking it. And I was like, boy, I just went off on him, nicely. But I was like, just with love. With what? So like you really just spoke to someone. And it was funny because he was getting heart palpitations. And he discovered that it was the omega-3 that was causing fish oil.
Yeah.
Which I understood because I had the same issue with it. I can't just take
That's all you hear is everybody needs to be taking omega-3.
Exactly.
It's like, that's all you hear. It's like, you don't know how that would affect you.
And it affected his heart.
Yeah.
The same way it affects my heart.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. We take advice. We're just hearing whatever the hot topic is, whatever the hot, sexy stock is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And we're like, and we jump into it.
Yeah.
And so even though we have the common knowledge, like I always say with investing, we all know to buy low, sell high, right? But what do we actually do when it hits the fan? We do the opposite. We panic. So we have knowledge, but we keep doing our behavior, our senses, our mindset, however it's shaped, it's going to cause us to react and act off of whatever news we just heard, whatever someone that we don't even have to like that much, but they seem to be doing well on social media. So they must know.
Let me do what they're doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Instead of really getting the blood and urine done for your own finances.
Yes.
And find out what do you need to achieve your long-term goals.
Well, that answer gave me a lot of peace. I was like, okay, I don't have to figure it out right now. I'll just go to Marcy when the time is right and you'll help me.
That's right. Mark and I are always here.
That's right. And like, for real, that's like, it's just so much peace knowing that like, I'm not supposed to DIY it, For some reason, I feel like that is what I'm telling myself, that I should be able to DIY it. And also
the rest of the world.
Yes.
It's telling you that.
Yes. Honestly, this goes for everything. Once again, maybe the theme of this conversation is just how everything is connected because you said health. And I guess this is kind of health, but I get frustrated often with like skincare products because there's like a million. I don't know if you can relate. There's a million products out there. You'll see a bunch of people like showing their skincare routine and they're just showing all their different products that they're using. And I'm literally like, what should I be doing? And I just recently came to the decision. I was like, I'm going to a dermatologist. I'm not like, I'm wasting money on buying all these different products. And I don't even know if I'm doing anything. Like I'm putting it on my face. It feels nice, but it's like, I don't know if it's what my skin needs, So I literally was like, I'm done. I'm going to the dermatologist, but that's the same thing here. It's like, let's actually go to the experts that can truly help with this type of thing. I didn't go to school for this. Like you said, they're not teaching finances even in school. They're not even giving like the basic. Yeah, it's not even like the basic knowledge, right? No. So
didn't they used to at one point?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like I took accounting 1 and accounting 2 in high school.
In high school.
In high school, I did it.
Yeah,
that wasn't offered to me.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Right. I knew it because I knew I was going to go into the financial area. So those were my 2 favorite classes, but I was well aware that, oh, wait a minute, this is not taught. And even that was still just accounting. It wasn't really personal finance.
Yeah.
So I still made mistakes, Yeah, I went to college, credit card. Yeah.
All right. What are some red flags that couples' financial habits might cause issues long term?
Oh, man.
Or individual habits.
Can you give us, I don't know what the confidentiality rules are, but can you give us any examples?
I mean, as long as I'm not naming names, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, give us some of the tea.
Yeah. Well, lying.
Okay, well, yeah.
That's a huge one. I mean, again, communication, right? How people talk about it. So just really getting upset. A lot of times people will come to Mark and I, and it's the one individual, either the wife or the husband. A lot of times it's the wife that starts. And we're like, will your husband be joining us? And they're like, no, but I'm not waiting for him. I gotta get this together.
Like regular therapy.
Yeah.
You're getting the point now. You're seeing the pattern here. Yeah. And that happens. That's so common. That happens way more than I would like. But the good part is that maybe halfway through our process, the husband's kind of like, oh, what's going on there? That looks interesting. And he may eventually, join in the conversation. But as far as red flags, it's that type of thing. It's the resistance to be able to really to work together, to talk with a professional about that. And it could be challenging. I mean, you don't want to break up over money, right? Yeah. But the thing is that anyone that's really divorcing over money, it's not money that a divorce is about. Right. It's about the discomfort that's happening and that's causing. It's about what the individuals are feeling internally. And it's about a lack of a safe space. So red flags is how you feel. We ignore how we feel. We ignore all the signs and all the intuition that pop up because we keep it at the surface thinking, oh, it's just a money thing. Money is some metal and some paper. Some people say money is energy. It's nothing. It's what money means. So if you are ignoring the behavior that is surrounding, like so the attitudes and the habits that are surrounding this object that is flowing through your home and making decisions for your relationship, you will never be at peace. You will never be at peace. So you cannot ignore the warning signs, the instincts, the intuitions that you're coming up with by interacting with individuals. And this goes with romantic couples or friendships. You can't ignore it. And don't even get me started with as you grow and your tax bracket increases, there are some relationships that cannot come with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's especially with friendships. I mean, I see that with couples, but, and again, that's challenging.
Yeah.
You say that all the time with like athletes and, yeah, especially Black athletes, and they start making that money, and then all of a sudden all the friends like, hey, we made it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had that conversation on my podcast not too long ago, bringing up Tyler Perry's example that he recently talked about on Den of Kings. Den of Kings. And he talked about firing his aunt. And because she was asking for money. He was like, you know what? I'm not going to be wealthy for you. I'm going to give you a job. Gave her a job and she wasn't showing up. And he's like, you got to go. And apparently, not to go into that, but I think this was a good example. He was giving money to some family members. And when his mother passed away, he said, y'all have 60 days to get jobs because money stops. So apparently, mama's going to be like, honey, you got to take care of the family.
Yeah.
And so he probably found that to be honoring his mother. And he understood that that's not going to help them or him.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to look at that in all relationships, especially, I know we're talking about couples a lot, but talk about friendships a little bit.
Yeah.
We have to be able to understand that enabling is never a good thing. You can't help someone by weakening them financially, weakening them as far as them being able to have personal responsible agency over themselves.
Doesn't enabling typically happen because like we're afraid of something else happening?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The fear of loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you go back with the athletes, they come out of this community and, especially with Black folks, community is like huge. I was just having this conversation with someone today. We're like, we're the only community that feels the weight of the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you succeed. Oh, I got to.
Yeah.
I have to. The obligation is very heavy. So even the thought of someone not talking to you or cutting you off because you won't do what they want you to do. It's challenging. And obviously that shows up in every community. I've seen it. I see it culturally in so many areas, in particular African countries, Nigeria. I see it in various Asian communities. I mean, that connection to supporting your community is huge, and it looks different, a little different in each community. But the obligation, the expectation to do so financially is heavy. But this goes back to knowing what you want. What do you want? What have you been called to do? What is your purpose? What are your values? And what do you need to do it to make sure that you get there? Because if you don't, the depression, the stress, we're seeing it. We're seeing it, and it will show up on you. It'll be toxic in you if you don't continue. So I know that's a long answer to red flags.
Yeah.
That's good though.
Okay, that brings me to a follow-up question though, because I heard you say too, like you said pay attention for red flags, like pay attention to like different feelings that are coming up. We talked about it with alignment too, like alignment can be felt. So I guess my question is, how do you know if the feeling, let's say you're feeling pressure, resistance, how do you know if that's not your own money thing that you need to work on versus the other person? Because I would assume when you're with someone else, you know, like you said, there's two people. So it's like, how do you determine, especially if we think of red flags, making a decision about person you want to be with, like whether this is a you thing that you need to really take a look at and dive deep in, or this is okay, this person and they're probably not a good match for me because of X, Y, and Z.
That's a great question. And I'll go back to something I always say. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you're willing to ask yourself. So something like that.
I said that to him this week. I was like, your sister always says this. Sorry, go ahead.
It is. I mean, I would say I need to ask, if I'm not asking myself at least, 5 questions a day, there's something wrong. But it really the answer to that question is about asking yourself questions. Why do I feel this way? What is it saying? Where is this coming from? What am I actually feeling? And then once you start getting some answers around that, then you're going to take it to another level of questions. You really just cannot be afraid to go deep. We just live in a society where we stay surface level. So we have to be able to go deeper with, is it me? Is it that individual? And then, just to keep the answer short, go from there.
It's communication, sort of. Communication with yourself and communication with others. Are you willing to go deep with yourself? Are you willing to go deep with somebody else?
Yes.
Oh, you're the best, Marcy. All right, last question. What are a few first steps couples can take today to improve their financial compatibility?
I think one of the things you can do, and it usually is there are a couple things here. When you're having conversations, again, we already talked about communication all the time. So let's just assume we understand that. And we're communicating at this point. All right. One of the things we have to release is this desire to feel right, this idea of right and wrong, or else the communication, it'll come to an end. So I always say in the beginning, one of the things you have to start is agreeing to disagree. You're just simply not going to always agree on the same things, but agreeing to disagree is agreeing. One of the things you can do is just listen to each other and be okay with not seeing exactly eye to eye at that moment, and then continuing to work through some things, revisiting conversations, and to see where we are now. Because we're constantly evolving, you're constantly growing. Hopefully, if we're going through this process, you're learning. And with that, you can revisit that. And then continue to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and focus on the strengths instead of the weaknesses. We are designed, we are automatically ready to go for the jugular. We're going straight to the weaknesses. We can talk about everything that someone's doing wrong or a significant other is doing wrong, and not focus on what they're capable of doing right. So if you're working with an individual, I'm not working with an individual, but your significant other is a spender, maybe spends more than you would like. Instead of focusing on that, maybe pay attention to what he or she is doing to support the financial well-being of the relationship. Maybe they're good at, they may be spending, but they're able to get that spreadsheet together really well. They're handling that at that point. So again, if you're understanding each other's roles and you're going to start identifying their strengths, then you do have to learn to shift your mindset so that you're focused more on the strengths than the weaknesses. So those are just a couple.
So good.
Mindset shift. I like that.
So good. I love it.
All right. Well, I know we always say no answers and no perfection, but I feel like we got some answers.
We did get answers. I'm so happy.
So some answers, no perfection, but just two sides of the same couch. We expanded the side on the couch too. So this was a fantastic episode. I was very quiet because I felt like I was just receiving a lot. We talked about that on Introverts Experts. But thank you, my sister, for for joining us on this, for being our first guest on the pod. Really,
so cool.
Nobody else I'd want to have other than you for our first guest. So
true.
Yes, we learned a lot. Hopefully you have learned a lot. Please put some questions in the comments if you have them for my sister. I'll make sure that she sees them and that she'll answer every single one.
And if you're looking for a financial advisor, she's your girl. Her and Mark are your people.
Yeah, we'll put her information there in the bio so you can get to her. And yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me, my brother.
Go and plug your company. Go and plug it.
Yes. So you can find me if you're looking for me. Legacy Builder Group, www.legacybuildergroup.com. I'm all over social media. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. So you can find me. And on YouTube, our podcast.
Come on, we got our podcast.
Yes, our podcast. Please check it out.
Podcast.
Yes, because if you really like a conversation about behavior, you can find us at legacypregamepodcast.com.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. See y'all.